Hello and welcome, adventurers. I'm Mary, and in this video, I'll be talking about the references to Final Fantasy I we encounter in A Realm Reborn. This video is the first in a new series retroactively covering references to Final Fantasy XIV's predecessors, and contains spoilers for A Realm Reborn and Final Fantasy I. So let's get comfy while we go back to square one. The catastrophe that sets our story in motion, known as the Seventh Umbral Calamity, was when the Lesser Moon Dalamed broke apart and freed the Elder Primal Bahamut. Bahamut was introduced in Final Fantasy I as the King of Dragons. If you happen to find him and present him with a rat's tail to show your courage, he would promote your party, changing their jobs to a more advanced and powerful form. When we start our journey, we come across a Crystal of Light and are tasked by Hydaelyn to seek out other Crystals of Light to aid in our fight against the darkness. In Final Fantasy I, our party's quest is to seek out the world's 4 crystals to restore their light and bring the elements back into balance. Cid's contribution as both a pilot and an engineer are invaluable in A Realm Reborn. Cid's last name, Garland, is a reference to the once noble knight of Cornelia. He kidnaps Princess Sarah before the start of Final Fantasy I, serves as the first boss encounter for the party, and is revealed to be the final boss after transforming into chaos. A Lufenian named Cid is mentioned in the Game Boy Advance and later iterations. A Lufenian tells us our airship is an invention of Cid's from hundreds of years prior. As a fun fact for you all, this edition gives Cid an appearance in every single mainline Final Fantasy game. Our adventure is given the title of the Warrior of Light after the main events of the Praetorium, either by our recent deeds for new players or from our allies regaining their memories of legacy characters. The Warrior of Light moniker was first used in Final Fantasy I. Your party of 4 are the prophesized Warrior of Light, said to appear when darkness veils the world. Several of the jobs available in A Realm Reborn made their debut in Final Fantasy I. The Rogue class that was introduced in patch 2.4 specializes into ninja, harkening back to Thief in Final Fantasy I, also being promoted into ninja. Warrior and Monk have their roots in the Fighter and Black Belt classes, which are renamed to Warrior and Monk, respectively, in later translations. Fighter promotes to Knight, a sword and shield wielding melee that can use some white magic, a precursor to Paladin. White Mage is another playable job in Final Fantasy I and is a very potent healer. Black Mage also made its first appearance in Final Fantasy I, where we're introduced to its elemental magics and powerful flare spell. Also, if you look closely, the Disciple of Magic ability Swiftcast showcases 4 crystals that circle the user during the animation, reminiscent of the 4 crystals carried by the party in Final Fantasy I. A hero's journey isn't complete without enemies, and A Realm Reborn is no exception. While their appearance has changed since 1987, a number of the enemies we encounter were first seen in Final Fantasy I. Basilisks, chimeras, golems, gargoyles, Gigas, Mind Flayers, Mummies, Ochus, Sahagins, Worms, Wolves, Wyverns, Blue Dragons, Green Dragons, and Red Dragons. There are also unicorn enemies called Nightmares in Final Fantasy I, which appear as mounts in A Realm Reborn. They're a very rare drop from Titan, Ifrit, or Garuda EX. The music in A Realm Reborn is memorable in its own right, while incorporating a few tracks that are now synonymous with Final Fantasy. The Final Fantasy main theme, also known as the Prelude or Opening Theme, is first heard in Final Fantasy I as the Warriors of Light cross the Cornelia Bridge. And again during the ending. In A Realm Reborn, the main theme can be heard in two different songs, and the times it plays echo its origins. We first hear it in a song titled A World Apart during the Level 15 Envoy quest. Our fledgling Warrior of Light has the world and their journey open up to them, much like the original 4 Warriors of Light. There's also a version played during the ending of A Realm Reborn as the credits roll, called The Seventh Sun. The music that plays during Party Formation screen and World Map screen in Final Fantasy I is called Prelude, or Crystal Theme. In A Realm Reborn, this track is called Prelude Rebirth and plays during character creation, character selection, and scenes where we speak to Hydaelyn. There's also a very cool remix of this track called Game Theory, which is heard while playing mini-games in the toy box. Another track stemming from Final Fantasy I is the Victory Fanfare, which plays after every successful encounter. In A Realm Reborn, a version called A Victory Fanfare Reborn plays after completing every dungeon, Guild Hest, Trial, and Raid. The intro is played upon gaining a level on any job. And can be heard when using a bed to log off in an in-room, causing the theme In the Arms of Althik to play. You can also hear the original 1.0 Victory Fanfare when you win a Chocobo race in the Gold Saucer, which was added in patch 2.51. Lastly, the jingle that plays in Final Fantasy I when you receive a key item is heard when you complete the Zodiac Weapon Zeta. Yoshitaka Amano's artwork, used as the logo for Final Fantasy I, depicts the Warrior of Light in his iconic attire. This armor set is attainable in A Realm Reborn via the Labyrinth of the Ancients raid for the armor, and by purchasing the A Realm Reborn Collector's Edition for the helm. You can also obtain a minion and barding for your chocobo to match. Before patch 4.1, these items were available as veteran rewards, and sent to any character who reached the required subscription length. Now, they can be purchased in exchange for achievement certificates. Other items that were first seen in Final Fantasy I can be purchased from Jonathas. The wind-up cursor minion is the selector in all the menus in Final Fantasy I. The ribbon headpiece is obtainable in Final Fantasy I, however, this version does not protect against status ailments. There's also a black mage barding available for your chocobo. The Minion of Light becomes one of the character sprites for either fighter, black mage, or white mage, and showcases their victory poses. The level 50 cleric set is based on the memorable white hooded cloak with red triangles worn by the first white mages. A white mage barding is also rewarded after getting a companion chocobo to rank 10 as a healer. The fully upgraded Paladin Zodiac weapon, Excalibur and the Aegis shield, were one of the best weapons and shields a knight could equip in Final Fantasy I. There are also game servers named Excalibur and Aegis, along with Lich, Tiamat, and the Chaos Data Center. An interesting thing to note is that 1.0 also had Final Fantasy I server names, Cornelia and Melmond, which were merged into Aegis and Durandal, respectively, on March 27, 2012. There was also a server used for the 1.0 alpha and beta test called Garland, but it unfortunately wasn't used for retail release. I mentioned the Toy Box's music earlier, but one of the games available, Slide 1+14, is straight from Final Fantasy I. While on the boat, if you press A and B together 55 times, a secret minigame appears. The version that appears in A Realm Reborn even uses a background that's a play on the one used for the bridge scene. So, what's your favorite Final Fantasy I reference in A Realm Reborn? Was there something I missed? Let me know in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. Thanks for watching, and until next time, adventurers, remember, you matter, and may you ever walk in the light.